you have been involved in this district in one way or another for a long time. Tell people how deep your roots are in this district.
I grew up in Anderson School District 3. I went to Ivy Elementary School as a student and then Star Ivy Middle School, and then I'm a 1984 Crescent graduate. So I'm from here. It's my home. Then I went to Erskine College, and then I came back right after Erskine College and became a teacher at Crescent High School. And that was in 1988. I've just finished my 33rd year in education, and all but one have been in this district. So I've been a part of this district a long time, and I think that's where my passion for the district comes from, because it's my home. It's where it's where I feel called to work, called to make a difference, and that's what drives me to come to work every day and makes every day fulfilling.
And how is that experience in being here so long? I mean, large majority of your adult life. How does that inform how you serve as superintendent and decisions you make, knowing everybody and knowing the community?
Well, I think it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. It's a blessing because you know people in the community, you respect people in the community, they respect you. The hard part sometimes is that everybody has an idea of decisions that should be made and things like that. And quite often there's information that can't be shared because it's confidential that goes into making a decision. So if someone disagrees with it, you can't say, well, this is really why we can't do it this way or that way. But what I've found so much in education goes back to relationship. It goes to relationship with students, and in my role as superintendent, it really goes to relationship in the community. People know if you care about something, they know if you care about people. It's hard to fake it. And so I think just building a relationship with people helps them trust you. And so they can give you an opinion, and if you have to not do what they ask or go a different direction, I think because they trust you and they know your heart, they're okay with what you're doing. And they still feel validated because you listened. And so it's kind of a great blend. I've also, from having been here so long, I have to sometimes catch myself and say, well, we've always done it this way. Well, there's times to change things too. It's good to have that history to fall back on, but it's also we're constantly moving forward, and we constantly have to change and do things differently. So it's a great thing, but it's also something I have to watch, especially because I don't want to just do something because that's the way we've always done it. If that's the best way to do it and it's still relevant, then we'll move with it. But there's times that things need to change, and I definitely have to be open to those changes too. And lots of times that just means changing me and listening to other people in the conversation. And that's why in our district I talk a lot about team, because we're all better when everybody's thoughts become a part of the process. And any success we have really comes because everybody's bought into what we're doing, everybody's giving thoughts, putting ideas together to make things better.
Well, we've obviously just come out of the most unprecedented year in public education history. How are y'all planning to bring everybody back in and kind of pick up where you left off, really, when everybody went home a couple of years ago?
Well, last year we were fairly successful reopening our buildings. I mean, we managed to stay open face-to-face all year. We had to use a lot of flexibility last year, and so this year in my mind is kind of a reset year. And when we reset, we don't just go back to how things were. We go to how things were, but what did we learn that makes us better? What do we need to do differently to be more effective? And so as we come back into our classrooms, we're going to have to tighten up some things I think that we had to loosen up last year. Some things with attendance and some things with being a little more flexible maybe in grading. Now, that doesn't mean that we're still not going to adjust to do what's best for children, but I keep telling our staff we're going back to our new normal. The expectations we had before, expecting excellence, and we can't use COVID as an excuse anymore. Last year we had to do a lot of things to get through it, and we did, and we did it great. But now we've got to move on. Move back to what we know is our task as far as student outcomes and meeting the needs of the whole student. And so we'll still keep those guidelines we had in place to keep everybody safe, but it's going to be more of a laser focus back on academic excellence too. with sports, the state kind of mandated how sports went. With some of our FFA competitions and such, many of those were canceled. And so I'm looking forward to more of those things being available for students to do. It was the same with band and chorus. Those competitions were put on hold last year. And so having the opportunity to do it again is what I think will be great for students, because quite honestly, they couldn't have gone if they wanted to. Now I think we'll have the opportunity to do it. There'll probably be more controls in place, but those students will be able to go out and do those things. We were able, especially at the end of the year, to allow our Beta Club to go to the national convention in Florida and compete. And some of our SGA officers later in the year were able to go compete. So really, it's the opportunities reopening that we can allow students to go to. And once that happens, then we'll look at the parameters we need to put on. There may be fewer competitions that they go to than in the past, but being able to move off campus and actually do those activities will be a great start. Our wrestling team won the state championship. Our baseball team, so they won the district championship. We lost in the upper state, but still had a very banner year there. Our softball team won the region, is actually the 34th region championship in a row. So we still had a lot of success with sports.
Your anglers, your fishing?
Our fishing team in national competitions, our skeet shooting team in national competitions. And so our kids were still able to excel even in tough conditions. And what we wanted to do is allow them every opportunity possible to compete, as long as there were safety parameters in place that we knew they were safe doing it health-wise and that we could justify sending the students out.
Are there any changes that students or teachers or anybody will notice? Have y'all done any updates, upgrades over the summer, or anything people will notice coming back?
With a shortened summer, we haven't done a whole lot. We are hopefully on the end of finishing our track project. Weather has held us up a lot there this year, but this week they should be laying sod on the infield of the track area, which will function also as a practice field. And so in the next month or so, the track project should be totally completed. And that's one of our penny sales tax projects that we've had it on the list. And from there, our next project we'll start looking at is when can we begin the upgrades to the football stadium. So with a shorter summer, we didn't do a lot of upgrades in buildings other than basic maintenance that had to be done. But with some of our CARES Act money, I think in the future we'll be able to upgrade some air handling systems at the middle school, upgrade some roofing areas that badly need to be replaced, and do some more air quality type stuff. So we do have some plans in place, especially with those funds in our buildings. We've done some painting and stuff to make the interiors look better, but the bigger projects that take more time we've had to put on hold. Yeah, we've been working with Anderson County on some of the grant funds that they're trying to get to enhance broadband. We've worked with Western Carolina because in our district it's not an issue of whether parents are willing to pay for it. It's just that the broadband's not there. They don't run it to their house. And so getting that capability to every household in our district is a goal that we have. And so I hope with the partnerships that we have with Anderson County and with some of the state CARES Act money, that can be a countywide and a statewide initiative to get broadband to every household, regardless of where it's at. I mean, the problem, is in a rural community, they don't want to run broadband to 2 houses in 10 square miles. I mean, it's just not cost effective unless grant money comes in. But that's probably a big barrier we've had to overcome, because we did some things with hotspots and things like that helped with our accessibility, but still that's as good as your Verizon or AT&T connection too, and some of those places are spotty. So broadband is something statewide and community-wide that really needs to be enhanced. That's the next piece to the puzzle of getting all of our students where they need to be with technology. We are really looking at building needs in our district within the next 10 years. We have some things that we need to do to finish the football project, like moving the bus lot and some things like that. We have at least one school, Star Iva, that we need to look at replacing in some form in the next 5 to 10 years. So that's really our strategic plan, is what can we do to meet those building needs. Our technology department and our bus office itself, we need to move to our centralized office. So just looking at, in the next 5 years to 10 years, what can we do to really put ourselves in a better position? I'm also, maybe this is optimistic, but I'm expecting some growth in our district. I think it just seems that the population is pushing down some in Anderson County, and with growth comes building needs too. So I'm hoping we're getting ready for that perfect storm, that we need to replace some buildings because of age, but also hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years we're going to grow enough that we outgrow some buildings too. That sounds like a problem, but to me that's a great problem to have.
I think District 3 is the only school district to have its own app, if I'm not mistaken. How has that worked out for y'all over the last few years? You got it out at the right time, that's for sure.
Right. The district app has been a game changer for us, and really, you go back, I hate to go back to COVID, but had we not had that in place communication-wise, it would have been much more difficult to do what we needed to do, because with that app, not only can we constantly post stuff and keep the information on our websites up to date, with one click, we can post to our website, our social media pages, we can send a text, we can send an email, and so it just makes it easy for real-time communication. And where the app helps a lot is because we talk about broadband issues. I may not have good internet at my house, but most people have a cell phone, and they have apps on that cell phone, and so they can click on the app, or I can click on the app, and there's real-time information right there. And it's been great for us, especially when we've needed to survey parents about things and get quick numbers on things. We can send out a survey through that app. Parents can do it on their phone. And our return rate on surveys in the last year has been phenomenal in comparison. And I think it's because it's just an easy way to do it. I highly recommend an app for our district because I think it's helped us communication-wise. And like I say, a real challenge we had up until that point is keeping our websites relevant and timely. It's just time consuming. That became a part of our app. And so it just was a seamless way to communicate everything at one time.
How does the communication on technology go with Classroom?
Lots of teachers will have their own Classroom page, or they'll use another text-based app, but they can. And really the biggest place that happens is through our Facebook and Instagram. At each school, people have the capacity to go into, the platform is called ThrillShare, to go into ThrillShare and put up their own stuff. And so it does give them ease to get it timely out there much quicker than if they have to wait for somebody from the district office to come take pictures or whatever. So it's helped each school level to be able to put out their information quicker.
You are now the State Superintendent of the Year. Were you surprised by winning that award?
I was surprised. I was very excited, but also surprised. Anytime you're from a small rural district and you can win a state award, it's big for your district, and that's what makes me so excited about it. It's not really about me. It's about what we're doing in Anderson School District 3. Because in the application process, I talked about what we're doing in Anderson School District 3. And it's a way just to highlight that everybody on our staff, everybody on our team makes a difference. And when we all pull together, we can do great things. It's not about how much money you have. It's not about your facilities. It's not about any resource you can talk about other than people. When people come together around a common cause and they do the right thing, good things happen for students. That's why I'm excited about the award, because it says to our state and to our county, look, we're doing great things here. You don't have to be in Columbia or Charleston or Greenville to have a great school district. And you don't have to have a lot of money. You just have to put a plan in place, but at the end of the day, you have to care about children. You have to have everything you do focused on that child in the classroom. And if everybody's focusing on that, then you'll have a great outcome. And that's what makes me so excited about the award, is it brings attention. And as I talk to people around the state, it's just something that really highlights rural school districts. And those are the superintendents that have reached out to me the most and said, I'm so excited for you, because it says that we can still do great things, even though we don't have the size and the wealth of some other places. And so we're just constantly about telling the wonderful things going on in Anderson School District 3. As we begin this school year, I'm hopeful that, and I'm not ready to say this in stone yet, that we'll be able to open our schools more to parents and the community than we were able to last year. Basically, last year we had to keep just about everybody out from a health issue, and so that meant no grandparents' lunches, and awards days were done very differently, concerts were done very differently, and so it's my goal this year that we'll be able to welcome the community and the families back into the schools, because that's really what makes it special, is not that you have to watch a live feed of what's going on with awards day, but that you're able to sit there with your child or in the same room. So as we reopen schools, I tell people I want us to be as normal as possible, and that means allowing our families back into schools, we have a great Michelin Mentors program, we have a great Reading Buddies program that some of those people have not been able to come in as much, and so we're hopeful as we begin the new school year to restart some of those things, because those are some other things that make such a small school district so special, is getting the community involved in what we're doing. And so as we begin this year, I'm excited about going back to a new normal, as I've told you before. I'm excited about getting back to the business of educating students the way we know to educate students, and not just having to worry about safety protocols. And now we're constantly going to worry about keeping students safe, because that's the foundation. That's where it starts. If students aren't safe, then they can't learn. So we're not getting rid of that, but we're going to learn how to operate schools around that again. And so as we move into the school year, I'm very hopeful that what we consider to be normal is returning. And not just normal, but better. Because we have learned some things that will help us when students have to be out for long-term times. We'll be able to do more things virtually with them to keep them in class, but we're also not going back to a total virtual program for anybody. Unless things just happen that we have no control of, because we're here to be face-to-face, we're here to build relationships and work with students and parents and families to make our Star Iva community the best it can be.